way whatsoever. He will start telling us what's it called? The previous administration, they kept the government in a comatose stage or what, or state or what. It's not right.
But then
he was part of it.
But he wasn't the president.
He was part of the government. He was the leader.
He was part of a political party.
And the leader of the party.
The ruling party.
The leader of the party.
That doesn't give him executive powers.
No,
to act
it doesn't
in the capacity
give
of
him
the president.
executive powers. Did he criticize the government then? Did he criticize the government of Muhammadu Buhari? He did not. So we can't just start coming out now to start saying, rather he coming out to start saying the government was, they met the government in a bad state and this. Remember, Muhammadu Buhari did that for 8 years. They did that for 8 years. Blaming the previous government, Jonathan's government, for 8 years. So is that how we'll be living on blame, 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 blame? It's not right now. Let's face it. So the civil society, though I'm very, very upset with them.
Why?
You call for a strike today or a protest today. The next minute, you're calling it off. It doesn't make sense now. Come on, let's face it. It doesn't make sense. Even when they called for this, what's it called? The protest, I just smiled. I said, no. This thing, they will call it off. Like I was a prophet. They called it off.
This last
and the minister for, what's her name? The minister was like, okay, they've met, how did he even put it? That they've met reasonable, they've agreed, there was this statement.
They've reached an agreement.
They have reached an agreement, a reasonable agreement. But Labour came out to say, no, there was nothing of such. Who are we to blame? Or who are we now to hold on to? Who are we to hold on to? If Labour is saying a different thing, these persons are saying a different thing, and Labour called off this, the protest, who are we to blame?
Labour went through with the protest.
Just how many days? How many days was it supposed to be?
Instead of 2 days.
A day. So what happened to the second day? And now you're pushing it to 13th of this thing. I can bet you, those people, they will not do anything. That's why he is so bold. Just imagine now, TUC was saying, we're not part of this. TUC said they were not part of it.
TUC was part of it, but
TUC said they were not part of it.
What they were trying to explain was, it was a unilateral decision by Nigerian Labour Congress.
Without TUC.
Without TUC.
However, so TUC didn't go on strike.
They were part of the protest, but they did not have an agreement.
They did not have an agreement. So
the agreement they have with NLC is the strike, not the protest.
This sorry to say, this Joe Ajero led NLC. I don't know, Nigerians have lost faith in them. In fact, Victor in particular have lost faith in Joe Ajero. These persons, I won't start saying or start laying claims to what I cannot substantiate here. If not, there was this interview I watched in one of these sister televisions, and they interviewed Joe Ajero. When I saw his house, I was like, wow, like this is a Labour leader's house. How possible is this? These guys are staying in mansions. So what are we now saying? Is it their salary that I don't understand? So let's face it, is it their salary? When I saw his house that day, I was like, are you for real? I called a friend, I was like, see Labour leader house. This was not hotel. This was his house. How did he live? I said, where did he gather all those money to build such an edifice? So you see that I'm not trying to lay allegations here, but you call for a protest today. Tomorrow you're saying, don't worry, we'll have to. You are directing your state chapters to go for a press conference. What kind of press conference is that? No, Choma, tell me now. What kind of press conference is that?
All right. Now let me come to you, Mr. Charles. Mr. Victor is saying that Labour has lost its power, its influence.
They have.
Like they used to have. Do you agree with that statement? If you do, what are your reasons?
Labour, I have nothing to speak about Labour. But my first position was Tinubu was right in his defense. So I wanted to hold on to that view. But
we'll still come to that. What we are looking at is the reaction of the civil society organizations when Tinubu came out to, he wasn't happy with the protest led by NLC, and he came out to say that NLC is not the only voice Nigerians have, right? And if they are really unhappy with his government, they should wait for him in 2027. That statement, okay, let's even analyze the statement of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Do you think that statement, you know, showed empathy and understanding to the plight of Nigerians?
I would not say it shows empathy. It doesn't. It was arrogant, so to speak, if we were to analyze that. But if we look at it very well, his position is correct. If they want to make changes, there is a system in place to make changes.
There cannot be.
Really? Okay. Let's anchor on your point a bit. Now, the president, 9 months into his office, is telling Nigerian Labour Congress, and by extension, the Nigerian masses, because it wasn't just the Labour Congress that came out for that protest. Affiliates were part of it. And affiliates, when you're talking about affiliates, the thousands of people, the hundreds of thousands of people that were all over the streets of Nigeria are masses. So when he made that statement, by extension, it was the masses. And he's telling the Nigerian Labour Congress and telling Nigerian masses, the civil servants of Nigeria, that if they are sorely aggrieved, they should wait for him in 2027.
You must realize that they gave him an ultimatum that he should forget about 2027 election, because they were confident they have the numbers, and he who makes the claim has the burden of proof. So Tinubu only challenged them, accepted their challenge, so to speak.
Okay, now accepting let me come to you, Mr. Victor. Accepting the challenge by the CSOs, fix Nigeria or forget 2027, and the president is, you know, he came back, he had a comeback at them by telling them, if you're sorely grieved, wait for me in 2027. Do you think that is right? Like, this is 9 months into his office, and he's already reacting to 2027. Already, that is already telling Nigerians that I'm coming back in 2027, when Nigerians are still talking about the crisis in 2024.
Okay. Right now, are you not seeing the handwriting on the
wall? What handwriting, sir?
That beavers will not work the same way it didn't work before.
Well, there is constitutional amendment going on.
Constitution.
The review.
Will it be
implemented? INEC and the electoral process are part of the constitutional review.
Will it be implemented? The handwriting is there on the wall. You understand me? It's written, just like in the biblical words, the mene mene tekel vasi. It's written on the wall. You understand me? It's written. So there is no way. They are trying to let you understand that we don't even have a voice. We don't have a voice. That is what they are telling you. A man that cannot even predict his tomorrow is telling you to wait for him 2027. How? How? These persons have... I don't know. I don't want to... You know, I'm in the studio here. I don't want to use words that will not be nice.
Yeah, please don't.
You understand me? But the handwriting is written. And let me still go back to the Bible. Who was the mene mene tekel vasi interpreted to? Was it not Nebuchadnezzar? It was Nebuchadnezzar. How did he end? So see, I don't blame them. I don't blame them. They came to power with the slogan Emiloka. I don't even know, is it Emiloka or Emiloka? I don't even know this thing. Because they believe it's their rights. So he will still tell you, I don't know the Yoruba language for it, I will continue. That will be his slogan. Because I cannot see how somebody, you are buying fuel, I bought fuel today for 750 naira. And someone is telling me now that you will continue. Continue for what, man? No. Let's face it now. Continue for what? May 29th, I bought fuel for, is it 168 or 168? May 29th, you came at the podium there, you said subsidy.
May 29th.
May 29th, yes.
Fuel was around
168.
No, 168.
No,
that was way back.
No, May last year.
Okay.
It was 168 that I bought fuel.
Before we now climb to 5.
Before we climb, the subsidy is gone. I even need to, they need to explain that part, because from the budget thing that we had, we didn't see, that subsidy was till June, this thing was till June. So how come you're removing it May? How much are they paying a month for it? So what happens to this thing? See, these people, they are just taking us on a ride. Like I said, blame games from Jonathan. Jonathan didn't blame Yar'Adua. Yar'Adua, his short stay, he didn't blame Obasanjo. He didn't blame Obasanjo. But Buhari came, oh, Jonathan's government. But you see them, they are hugging every day, playing and everything.
And that's to you, Mr. Charles. You said it's quite early. If I may ask, the economy of the nation, did it deteriorate very slowly? If you say it's quite early, at what point will you consider that, okay, it is really bad at this point in time?
I need to come India. I need to come India because I don't know. He's like, he's not feeling the heat.
Hold on, let the question.
He's not feeling the heat. Rice, I bought rice, how much? December. Now you're telling me rice, local rice from, what's it called? You're telling me 85,000 naira. It's not, no. Right now I cannot even eat good meat. I'll be eating atabala. Isela. Is that what we should be eating? Is that what we're going back to the days of 1983, 1985?
During the
you understand? And when you start telling them, to be bringing these Aristotelic ideas. Was it the president when they were singing Gary one cup? I want to go to my village. No, I know he was not the president, but we cannot be suffering now. I tell people you cannot be earning even 150,000 naira. Maybe you're staying in, let's say, Mbogu. You're coming to Choba, and you're driving a car. You cannot cope now. You cannot cope. How will you cope? Maybe you have 2 children.
Okay.
Plus a wife, and you understand? You cannot cope.
Okay, if I may come in there, back to your question.
Yes.
Back to your question about the economy. At what point it's worse?
At what point? You said it's quite early.
It started from that day. That day, May 29th.
Mr. Charles, hold on. At what point do you think that, at what point will you consider that, okay, it's enough? The government is not getting it right. If you say it's
we cannot say it is because of Tinubu's government. The economy is bad.
Okay.
It has started at, even before Goodluck's time, because the naira was subsidized, dollar was subsidized. There was a period where the naira was not even floating. There is only one window to make a forex exchange. It is only in Tinubu's government that the I and E windows opened. And through the I and E window platform, ordinary individual can now access dollar and do business with it. And because the subsidy, both in PMS and other gases, have been removed, the subsidy used to keep the dollar stable has been removed. These are good policies that help an economy, even help investors to come and invest.
Good policies that help the... Okay, let's delve on, let's anchor on that a bit. When you talk about removal of subsidies on literally everything. Fuel subsidy was removed. Electricity subsidy has been stopped. Now, side by side stopping electricity subsidy, the tariff was increased. So there is an increment in payment of electricity, and the subsidy that would have cushioned the effect was removed. And also at the same time, not only was the tariff increased, but now the discos and the gencos are now giving us excuses as to why the epileptic supply that we used to have has gone to zilch. Like there is literally no light anymore. Correct? So you're paying and not getting value for money. Hold on, I'm trying to analyze what you've just said so that we can build on that. So you're paying very high for a service that you're not receiving. You're receiving little or nothing. And the subsidy that will cushion the effect of that payment has been removed. correct? And then the spillover of that particular lack of good service is that you now have to depend heavily on the PMS that is now on the very high side, by extension affecting the SMEs. SMEs are shutting down. The high cost of production because of heavy dependence on power. It's another problem. The manufacturing organizations are crying out. Investors are actually leaving the country. Right. Now, that's on one side. Now, also, subsidy has been removed, literally from every other aspect of the country, as the case may be. And the wage award remains the same. But the high cost of living is over 50%. Don't you see, while the government is trying to, do everything they can to increase their IGR, how do you think these policies are affecting the masses? So quickly.
Regardless of how the government responds to this situation, we must still suffer the harsh reality. This is worldwide, mind you. PMS is expensive, even in Saudi Arabia. So I will not speak to the NEPA subsidy removal, even though it's part of the problem. But we should know that the security problem we suffer, it is more contingent upon security issues. The logistic cost to bring any food from the north down to the south is very challenging. So considering Boko Haram, bandits.
You're also taking away the logistical issues from the point of cost of fuel.
Okay.
Now, if I may ask you, because we are out of time, if I may ask you, Mr. Charles.
Mr. Victor.
Mr. Victor, sorry. If I may ask you, Mr. Victor, in developed climes,
okay,
countries subsidize even food items,
yes,
for their citizens.
Yes.
Now, in Nigeria, where more masses are way below poverty line, do not forget the budget. When the budget is spread across, each Nigeria gets less than $100 for an entire year.
Okay.
If you spread across, do you think subsidizing certain things for the citizens is important, especially in view with the current economic crisis and hunger in the land?
It is very important, my sister. It is very, very important. Now, let me tell you, there was this shocking thing that happened to me on, when was that? That was on Tuesday. I went to buy my precious fufu. They told me 3,500. Before it used to be 6,500. And I won't say how many I used to eat. It's not something we started with.
Okay.
With my size, you should know I should be eating up to 5. Now, how will I be buying 1,000 naira for just one times one? The subsidy, the fuel thing, let's forget the diesel. Now, the fuel thing have affected everybody. He is saying it's the insecurity thing. No, I stand to differ. Because transportation, if you meet the woman now in, what's it called? Town market, to say, madam, why is this fufu like this? Transport. She will never tell you insecurity. They will not say insecurity. Electricity now, most of us, okay, the business now of the day, you're making pure water, you have a factory, you need fuel. Is it insecurity that is causing the fuel not to come? It's not insecurity. You understand me? Now, we have a Gary here. It's not insecurity that is bringing it from Ikwere, Ogoni, or Eche. It's not insecurity.
So why is it on the high?
Because of the subsidy that was removed. Before now, Gary used to be 700, 800. The last time I asked, they said it's 2,400.
For a paint.
What's it called? This custard.
Custard paint.
Yes. 2,400. And if you have someone like me in the house that can eat a paint, no. Let's face it. Now that can eat a paint in 2 days.
A paint in 2 days.
A paint in 2 days, yes. If I can eat 6 fufu, straight up, yeah, I can eat a paint in 2 days.
Interesting.
That's why I don't even like eating gari. Not like I don't like gari. But because the thing is too expensive, I cannot start eating one paint in 2 days. They will kill me in the house. My wife will finish me. That's just the truth.
Okay.
Sophia will finish me.
I would like to correct that
so,
expression.
It's not about insecurity, my brother. It's not about insecurity here. Even the North, they are suffering it. The North, they are suffering it. I called someone in Jos the other day. The guy was like, Oga, this side here, rice now about 60,000. He'd be like, 60,000. So now let's check logistics and everything, bringing it down here. It's not about insecurity. By the time they bring it down here, our people too want to make their own profits. That's why it's up to 80,000 naira. You get, so we're not, let's leave this insecurity thing. Let's leave it.
Okay. Now, quickly, in like a sentence or two, we are out of time. We are out of time. Sorry, sadly, that's all we can take on this episode of Let's Talk on Atlantic Television Network. Do not forget you can catch up with us on all our socials, on Facebook and TikTok, Atlantic Television Network 1, on Twitter, Atlantic Television Network. You can always follow and you can always catch up with us on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. Do not forget, peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Do not go away. Global News comes up shortly by 9 p.m. I am Ugu Laurentia Choma. Good night.
Trending stories in politics, business,